Hello everyone. I'm super excited today to be trying out the video element of my podcast. So I am new to podcasting and there are a lot of different mediums to get your message to people. And so I have tried going on different platforms like Spotify, Apple, Podbean, where I publish my stuff from. I think there's another one in there. I can't think of it right now. Maybe Amazon and Google. There's a lot of ways to listen to podcasts, but I wanted to try to add the video element in there. I know I connect with people's faces a lot, and so I wanted to try this and see if the message can reach people and they can maybe put a face to the story. So this is episode 6 for me, and I had recently told you guys I was going to post about the little diagram I created for all things anxiety and trying to find presence in sort of an uncomfortable situation that you can't control, which is the biggest part of it. And I ended up doing a different episode because I had a really crazy thing happen that I really wanted to capture in the moment and put out to you guys. So I put that episode out first. This one's going to come out a little later. But this one is the one I promised to you guys, and I said I would talk about the little diagram that I created. And I wanted to have the time to create it and the time to do it myself and to see if it actually helped. And also to send it to some of my friends and my family and see if it helped them. So I created it and I linked it in the show notes. And so you guys will be able to see it. It may be easier if you pull it up, if you're in the right environment to pull it up right now so you can understand what I'm walking through, but it's not too complicated to explain it. So I will do that while I'm drinking my coffee, which is nice. Part of the video element now, I can't necessarily do all the same things without everyone seeing, which is fine. You know, I'm going to drink my coffee. If you hear me take breaks, it's probably because I'm drinking coffee. Can't get more real time than that. But okay, so let's go through this diagram. I ended up calling or labeling this diagram after I made it as the honey hunt. Really love that name. I love is it the alliteration? No, I don't think it's the alliteration. There's whatever that poetic rhetoric device word is for when you use the same letter over and over again to it sort of rolls off the tongue in a certain way. It sort of brings in the audience in a certain way. I was an English major in college, so I should know that, but I have a heart for poetic devices and for poetry and for all things English. Okay, so honey hunt. This is something I'm really proud of. Really simple, but it just brings you back. It brings you back. It centers you, and it simultaneously writes down uncomfortable things and sort of encompasses it all in love and acceptance, in hope. And that's kind of the purpose of the name Honey Hunt. Like, you're hunting for the honey, but you also have to understand that the honey is the sticky mess of life. It doesn't mean that it's not hard and it's not difficult. It still is, but it's sweet. There's sweetness in the fact that this is your life, this is where you're at, this is where you're going, and you have to have some acceptance of that, especially when it's things that you can't control. So the way I started it is I drew a heart because I really wanted to keep love and acceptance at the focus I didn't want it to be like, here is the bad stuff I can control or I can't control. Here's the good stuff. Like, it's not supposed to be good and bad. It's supposed to be what is. So I drew this heart, and on the left side of the heart, I wrote what I can control. And this is meant to be, all of these labels are meant to be titles for like little sections in the heart that you write underneath. So that's sort of the intention there. So the right side of the heart, so the left side of the heart is what I can control. The right side of the heart is what I cannot control. And that's where you would obviously write those two things. And then we get to the bottom of the heart, which is sort of the third section, and it says what I am grateful for. And that is meant to sort of set the foundation. So you have this heart that has, you know, both halves, and then the bottom is gratitude, where your foundation of sort of the acceptance and the way forward and the presence is in this part of your life. And then I created an arrow through the heart, like, you know, Cupid's arrow sort of, and the left side of the arrow, which is outside of the heart, says past. And this is where you can write either above or below the little line that says past. Writing, it kind of depends on what your focus is in this diagram. So if it, for me with my job, it would be maybe when I was in college, just being a student in college, or being a student in the course I took before I went to my job. So I would write that because mine was very focused around my job. And then present would be, you know, what job I currently have, or and then the future is what job I want or what career path I want. So that part is really dependent on what you're sort of feeling and anxiety about. And so it does help to focus this diagram on the area you're feeling anxiety on. So the center says present, and that's where you'd write your present, and the end of the arrow, where the actual arrow is pointed outside of the heart, is the future. And that's meant to be sort of, you know, what you're looking forward to and what you're working towards. So I'm really proud of this diagram. I think it definitely helped me a lot to just accept, because the diagram isn't made to, you're not trying to gain more control. And that's what I said in my last podcast. It's not about, okay, these things need to switch over to this column, this needs to go here. Like, it's just, it is what it is. And you are finding love and acceptance and honey and sweetness in where you're at. And that doesn't mean that everything is great every day. It doesn't mean that this is where you want to be, but it's where you're at, and there has to be an acceptance of that. If you can head to that future, if you can be grateful for the little things that happen every day. So it's definitely an anxiety exercise, but not just, you don't necessarily have to have anxiety to do this exercise. All of my practices, all of my ideologies revolve around preventative ideologies, prevention of anxiety. So you don't have to wait till you are, you know, crippling with anxiety to do an exercise like this. Because I think, and I don't know if I've ever been on the true forefront of anxiety, and so I'm speaking from what I want and not necessarily what I've done myself. But I think I will do this exercise before I go into my next job, before I go into the career I want to go into officially, and I will be interested to experience that with you guys, on how that prevention style works and helps me with my anxiety. So that is the honey hunt, and I probably won't publish this episode for maybe another week, because I don't want to, my last episode's very strong, and I think it's a topic I want people to sit on for a couple days, and I don't want to overwhelm you guys with content, or myself, because I think I still need a little time to really cherish that topic and that epiphany moment that I had real time that I published. So I don't really want to just like back to back publish episodes that have some of the depth that I feel like they have, and take some emotional time to process and to be present with. But I'm really excited. I got to create this diagram. I got to show it to my sisters, and they both had real-time things that they needed it for. My sister is in the medical field, and she feels this would be really good for some people that are waiting in the hospital and that are just not sure, what's going to happen. It's such a vulnerable environment to be waiting and relying on these professionals around you to tell you what's wrong with you, what's wrong with your body, or what's wrong with your family members. I mean, it makes me emotional to even think about, because I know exactly what that feels like, and really hard. And it's completely normalized, and there's TV shows about it, and everyone's like sitting, sleeping in the hospital chairs, and it's sort of, everyone understands it's part of the process, but like, it doesn't mean it's easy to go through it. And you have your family there, but I think if you're alone and you maybe haven't told people about your sickness, or you're the only person that's there for someone else, that is a really difficult place to be in. And I'm hoping, just a simple little sheet like this, whether it's like something they do on their phone, or they just something they look out on the wall, something to look out of the bathroom stall, some of those areas where we are sort of forced to like think about things. I think that could be really powerful. So I'm hoping my sister will give me some feedback on how it's helping the people she's around in the hospital. And then my other sister's dealing with something, we're both in similar professions, so she's dealing with similar things that I am, being in a relationship and not having control over, being in the military, not having control where you're going to go, how long you're going to be there, when you're going to see your partner. It's really hard to figure out how to come to terms with that. And this exercise, I was so grateful I got to show it to her, and just real time be like, honey, dude, it's sticky and it's messy, but it's sweet. There's sweetness in there, and that's what we have to search for. But it's with the idea that you're still accepting that it's messy. Doesn't mean you're a mess, but life is messy, and the things that happen to us in different professions, especially service-oriented professions, are out of your hands, and therefore the greater good of something you may not understand, and that's really hard. But there's sweetness in there. So that is the honey hunt. I will put the link. I will put the link to the diagram in the show notes. Like, what am I trying to say right now? In the show notes, I will put the link in there, and whether you guys want to fill it out on your computer, like through PowerPoint, or what I actually created this on my iPad, and so I was writing with my Apple Pen on the diagram in PowerPoint. That's one way to do it. If you have like a journaling app on your iPad that you want to write it on, or if you just kind of want to put this on your wall, you want to print it out, maybe put it on your wall, or fill it in one day, tape it to your mirror. Whatever medium works for you guys. There's like a million different things. Or if you just want to look at it and be like, speak about it to a friend or something, use it as a sort of a conversation topic. Whatever it is, this is all about knowing you more, whatever works for you guys. So yeah, I hope everyone has a great day. I'm really glad I got to do this episode, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.